What's up, guys? This video is going to be about landlords, and it's going to be about this false ideology which claims that landlords are nothing but leeches to society, and they don't contribute anything, and whatever Marxist theory that people are going to have. So at the end of the day, being a landlord or investing in real estate, you're making a capital investment, and capital flows to anyone that provides a good or service. So me renting out a home to somebody is a service, and the person living there is being able to utilize that area and that service for a minute. But there is a method to the madness. There's a reason why this our societies work the way they work, in the sense of, if you're coming up into the world and you don't have enough money yet to purchase your own home, of course you're going to rent. Also, renting's benefits is if you're in a position where your job might require you to move, or you might be seeking another job, or you might have to, there's a million different scenarios there. If you just started a family and you only have one kid and you plan on having three kids, it doesn't make sense to buy a two-bedroom house right now and rent and wait to buy a four. So first off, there is a market demand for people that need to rent, because they're in different aspects of their life. So that's first and foremost, is there needs to be a service, or someone needs to fill that need, right? Number two is, when someone owns a home, they're contributing to society immensely. Not only are they paying property taxes, which help out depending on what state you live in, state governments, and even local communities and local counties, but it helps out eventually to contribute to a larger portion of society, right? So taxes are a number one thing, first off and foremost, is because that's helping the landlord to contribute to its society right off the bat. Also, all the maintenance that goes in. So you have your landscapers, you have your gardeners, and yes, those are two separate things, because one's more for curb appeal and makes it look nice, or you might have to change things up, and another person just maintains and cuts, right? Then you have maybe even a swimming pool that you might have to take care of, so that's another service fee added to it. But then you got your plumbers, your electricians, your roofers, and you also have the luxury, if you're a renter, if something does go wrong, a sink or a faucet, or you need to get your walls repainted. Those are all things that are going to contribute back into society. You're going to hire a painter or buy paint. Go to Home Depot to get a new knob, or get a new door, or get a new faucet, get a new screw here or there, or whatever it is. And that's all the burden of the landlord. And, I heard a lot of this about slumlords. Well, at the end of the day, there's always such thing as a fly-by-night. Right, that's not a good way to conduct business, and I'm sorry for anyone that's experienced a slumlord. That's not how I do business, and I can tell you firsthand. A lot of my friends that are in real estate, that's not how they do business. But are there of them bad apples out there? Of course, 110%, guys. There's going to be bad apples in every single aspect of life. There's bad doctors that are lazy, that might even let a patient die. It's true, they're there. There are bad judges that will throw the book at somebody based on the color of their skin. There's bad cops out there that will do a bunch of dirty stuff because they're power hungry. But does that mean in every single profession, because one person or a handful of people are bad, that the whole thing is bad? That's humanity. Are you going to judge America because we have such a high incarceration rate? You're going to say that every single American is bad and every single American's ideology is like that? That's so flawed. You got to judge it case by case. When you see somebody doing something wrong, and you see somebody taking advantage of someone, you speak up, and that person gets dealt with. And the laws that we have, at least in the state of California, they are protecting the renter a lot more than the landlord. The landlord is held to a higher standard, and they should be. At the end of the day, if you're running a business, you got to treat the tenant as a customer. You want to make the customer happy, obviously to a reasonable extent. You're not going to put gold tiles, in the house because they like gold. You know what I mean? But there shouldn't be a leaky roof. Their electricity should work. They should feel safe in the home they're in. There shouldn't be mold, asbestos, or whatever, right? But first off, that theory right there, being slumlord, is destroyed, because there are already laws in place, and if you don't have the resources, that's one thing. If, or in the sense of, like, you don't know who to call and how to complain, that maybe we could do something on a national level for that. Put up a hotline or something to complain, or at least figure out where your resources are, because landlords shouldn't be taking abuse of somebody. If you have a leaky roof, it should get fixed in a reasonable amount of time. But that's number one theory gone. Number two theory is, when a tenant does move out, the landlord also has to go back in and make all new renovations. I can't just freaking, slap a coat of paint on it and call it good. Because if the next person's coming out, I'm only going to be able to demand so much rent for the quality and the market that's there, right? So that fluctuates and that goes. And sometimes you do need like, I'm not going to say like, you know, in the hood or whatever, but lower like C class properties, which is like, hey, you're not going to have granite countertops. You know, you're not going to have, you know, backwashes on your bathrooms or anything. It's just a normal bathroom. It's what you need to do to get by. There's different levels of renting in that sense too. So basically, what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of service and value that a landlord provides. They're putting capital to work on the behalf of the betterment of society, in the sense they're providing someone a place to stay, and they're being able to maintain that place. If they do not maintain that place, they are going to end up losing it. How? No one's going to want to rent for them eventually if it gets so bad. If the roof is leaky, pipes are busted, everything's gone, because they have a certain level of a payment they need to maintain. You know, whatever that payment is, they got to be able to make a little bit of a profit above that. And I think that's a real misconception, is people think that a landlord buys like $100,000 home and all of a sudden, like, they're making, you know, let's say $800 a month, and that's going straight to their pocket. No, man, they got a mortgage they got to pay. They got bills they got to set aside. Some of them, a lot of them actually have property managers, and they got to pay 5% of revenue collected just to be able to collect rent and do paperwork and do whatever. And the same landlord ends up giving up usually first month's rent just to move you in. And if you stay and they renew the lease, it ends up being half of that month's rent that goes to the property manager. That's a huge expense. Now, if a person's managing it themselves, well, they should be compensated, because they're taking the time to go sign leases, to do inspections, to move it in, to do background checks, right? So it's not just as easy. I think that's the biggest misconception here, is they just think that, oh, well, you own a home, and just because your name is on the title, that you own the home outright and you're making $800 a month or $1,000 a month. That's just not the way it works. That, I mean, very few and far in between. I mean, yeah, if you maintain your property over the course of 30 years or 25 years or 15, depending on what the loan is, yeah, then you will be making money. But at the end of the day, the money you're making is going to also have to go back into the home, just like any other business. The money is going to have to go back into the business. In 15 years, you are going to need a new roof. That's another expense. That's another $15,000-$20,000 right now from where I'm sitting in California. You know, you are going to need new cabinets. You know, you are going to need new tile or new carpet every 3 to 5 years. So there's a lot of expenses that go in. All you are really being compensated for as a landowner is being able to manage cash flow, which means money coming in, versus maintenance, to be able to keep it rentable and to be able to keep a consumer coming in. That's a good equal balance. And in between that, whatever's left over, that's your profit. So eventually, is real estate extremely profitable in the long run? Yes, it is. And why is that? Because you have inflation. Because the government has already set a 2%, you know, inflation target. So no matter what, at the very, very, very minimum, the purchase of the home is going to go up 2% in value, and roughly rents will go up anywhere from 2 to 5%, because you also, as a renter, are making more money. Your minimum wage will go up. If you work at a regular job, it will give you a livable, you know, 3% bump, a 4% bump. That's just society as a whole. Real estate mostly is a shield against the government's bad spending habits. When the government goes out and just starts spending like crazy, your money starts being worth less. Now we're getting into the investment side of it, but I'm trying to stick to just, you know, the value landlords provide. So I'm going to recap everything. Landlords aren't a leech, because they're providing a service to their local society and their local community, right? They're making a house that's livable. They're taking care of maintenance. They're taking care of property taxes. If things get broken, if things need to be fixed, they're taking it. And just indirectly, the amount of people that they employ is crazy. I could count it off probably on my hands. Landscapers. You could get landscapers and gardeners in one. You got painters. You got electricians. You got small handyman. You got plumbers. You got roofers. You got property management people. Heck, sometimes, I mean, for better or for worse, you do got lawyers, you got court systems, and of course, you got odd jobs that come in too, like having to, you know, cement out a driveway or do stuff, and small little things that you might have to go get, like lining from Home Depot or whatever it is, you know, and or even like hooks. And some landlords are even nice enough to even offer, you know, furniture for the home. So there's all these services, and at the end of the day, the main service they're providing is making sure that you're living in a habitable spot, and they're maintaining that by being able to pay off a loan that they money that they borrowed to get the home, and they're charging a service fee. The profit, in a sense, of what they're making is always to be able to maintain. And you're like, okay, well, what happens after 30 years and it's paid? Now they're making $2,000 a month, and then it never works like that, guys. It doesn't work, because who's going to put the new roof on? Who's going to come in and put up new drywall eventually? In 30 years, you're going to have to do this work. Who's going to put in the new tile? Who's going to do the paint? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to put in the new windows? Who's going to put in the new sink? You think that shit just comes out of nowhere? Like it's just all magical? Like it's just, oh, well, they're all in cahoots. No, bro, that comes from a regular person that, has got the profit and over the course of time paid off their debt. And now majority of the profit they're making, more than 20 to 30 to 40% of that, depending on where they are at, goes back into that home. And then whatever they make in excess, well, that's an investment. I mean, they've spent 30 years of their life paying something off. Don't they deserve something for themselves? Yeah, that's just the way it is. And the thing is anyone could get into it. So don't be mad because you don't want to get into it and you don't want to put the effort into it and because someone else is gaining on it. And also goes down to wealth transfer. It's like if I'm building something for my family and my kids, I do want my kids to have it. That's my whole goal in doing this. So who the heck are you to tell me what I can and can't do about property? That's what America was founded on. We were tired of being persecuted for what we believed at the time and having a monarch over our heads. So we came out to this land to be free because of that. And we also, our property rights are the only thing that keeps America stable. All these people out here that want free everything. I mean, you're getting a taste of what it's gonna be like if this was a socialist country. That's just the truth. I mean, food is not going to be rationed out because everyone is driven at the end of the day. Like, I'm not even going to get into the whole political thing. At the end of the day, everyone's driven by profit. Capitalism works because at the end of the day, we are only going to do things that motivate us, that make us go to the next level. And if you understand that, then you're going to love this country because you're going to be motivated to make something of yourself, and you're going to be motivated that if you put in the hard work, you're going to get the benefits. No one wants to put in the hard work and give everyone the benefits. That's just not the way it works. I don't know. I hope this kind of helped, and I hope this kind of highlighted the importance of having a landlord in a place. And ultimately, it's supposed to be temporary. If you're a renter, you rent for 5, 10 years, build your career, and then you're on and you become a homeowner one day. But it's not always bad to be a renter either. I mean, there's a lot of benefits. Like if something gets broken, you call someone, it's taken care of, right? So if you have any questions, go ahead and comment or DM me if you like this. Follow, and please send it to at least one friend.